By the time you get down there, we'll be good. That's funny.
What's up, Upward fifth grade? Good morning. One more time. Good morning. I appreciate that. So, sorry for the technical difficulties. We were having a little bit of issue with our FASD cyber page. You guys can turn around and wave at the camera if you want. We have some parents joining us live today for today's presentation about the transition from 5th to 6th grade. So, once again, my name is Mr. Walters. I am the 6 to 12 principal, so I split time between the middle school and the high school. You'll see me not only today, obviously, but at Move Up Day, which we'll talk about, and then also orientation. You might see me out in the community as well, because I do live here, so you might see me a little bit around town. We also have Mrs. Bogan, who is one of our assistant principals. She's also 6 to 12. She's a former teacher here, so some of you may recognize.
It's nice to see so many grown-up, familiar faces, but I recognize a lot of you, and I'm looking forward to having you at the middle school next year.
We also have Ms. Durant, which is another one that had spent some time here at South Buffalo too. She's one of our school counselors.
So I can echo Mrs. Bogan's same message, that I do remember and see a lot of familiar faces back from when I was your school counselor for just a little bit a few years ago. So basically what I do is, I'm a school counselor, so I teach you guys some classroom lessons on careers and SEL. I also meet with students one-on-one and in small group sessions. So, if you ever need anything or you need any support, whether that's with, friendships, anxiety, you're having just a rough day, something happened in the morning before you came to school, and you just need somebody to talk to, you can always reach out and talk to me.
I left out because now I realize Ms. Zollinger was also at South Buffalo. A long time ago, Mrs. Zollinger is a former teacher here as well. She moved to the middle school whenever the middle school opened up. So she's an ELA teacher. She'll be introducing herself. And then we also have some of our 6th grade ambassadors here today that are going to answer some questions that you may have, give you some tips to be successful at Freeport Area Middle School when you transition on. Raise your hand if you are a 5th grade or you were a South Buffalo student last year. Keep your hand raised if you remember this presentation last year.
Yes.
What were your thoughts before you came to the middle school?
It's really confusing.
It was going to be confusing. What were your
I was
thoughts?
a little nervous.
Nervous?
I was really scared.
Scared. How long did that last for you guys, essentially, in transitioning to middle school? How long?
Like 2 days.
2 days, right? It's natural to feel a little bit nervous. It's natural to feel anxious about transitioning to new school. Some of you may have been here since kindergarten, right? So we have a lot of supports in place to make sure that you transition to the middle school and you feel comfortable coming to school. And it may take a day or two. Most people, I think, would say probably a week at most, but many people end up going to the middle school and they just say that they love it. And we'll talk about those reasons why. So before we get into our presentation, the one thing I want to say to you guys is make sure you continue to work hard in your classes. Yeah, PSSA is coming up as well. Because none of this stuff that we're going to be talking about today, it won't mean anything to you if you don't move on to 6th grade, right? So most of you, I'm sure, have really, really good grades, participate in class, listen to your teachers. But when it comes down to it, we're scheduling for next year. We still have 50-something days left. So you have to continue to work hard in your classes, be respectful of your teachers. And another thing that we use data for, especially moving into 6th grade, are PSSA scores. So those will be coming in the next month and a half, less than a month, right? Less than a month. So just making sure that you guys really, really try your best on those, because that does dictate a lot of times where you're going to go, especially when it comes to our advanced level classes. So before we start getting into some of the classes, and each of us will be talking a bit through that, just want to talk about the structure of the school, what it looks like. First off, our typical school day, we have 9 periods. So the periods are about 41 minutes long. And at the end of 41 minutes, a bell rings, you get up and you move to your next class. You're not guided by a teacher unless you're misbehaving in the hallway. But it's a lot of freedom during that time, those transitions. When you first come into school in the morning, we have a homeroom period too, which is about 8 minutes. Mr. Shell back there is our JPN director, Jacket Pride Network. He is somebody that runs our show this year. He'll be retiring this year, so congratulations, Mr. Shell. But that's something else that will be taking place too during that time. We take attendance, and then we move on to the school day. We'll talk about what your class is like a little bit in the school day. We also have a 5th or 6th period lunch. That's one of your 9 periods as well. And then we have something called win time. It's right in the middle of the day. It stands for what I need. Now this year, and you may be happy to hear this, it's the first year that we put something called regulation recovery, which is essentially like a recess in for our 6th graders. Try to get some of that energy out. And so you do have a recess for about 28 minutes, I think that is, 28 minutes. But once again, you have to qualify and earn that right to go out to recess. So misbehaviors, if you're being inappropriate outside, you don't get to participate with the rest of those students. So once again, it is something that we've got a lot of good feedback from our students this year, but we just have to make sure that you're in middle school now, you're becoming a young adult, you need to act appropriately when you do that. But during win time as well, we also offer some tutoring times. Some students go to organization groups, some may stay in to work on homework or projects if they choose to do so. So that's something to consider as well during win time. And we are looking to do clubs for 6th graders next year, and then we have something called advisory group, which each of you will be assigned an advisor, and that advisor meets with you every Friday, go over grades, go over some lessons about being respectful, being social issues that you might be coming about. It's a really good time to get together and talk about some things that are going on in school. The last thing that I want to talk about is our school supports. Obviously, we have our school counselor, Mr. Ann. She does an awesome job. She meets with all students and goes into the classroom. We also have a licensed professional counselor, like Mrs. Gonzalez does a little bit here and there at the middle school as well. So we have supports in that. And then we have something called MTSS teams. We talk about, in these teams, we talk about, with the grade level teachers, every student and making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and they're supported if they needed a little bit of additional help. So there are plenty of supports in place at the middle school for you guys when you transition up. A couple things on this slide too that I wanted to point out. Move Up Day is Monday, May 20th. So we'll have a little bit more information about that, but essentially you'll come to the middle school, you'll eat lunch with a group of 6th grade students, be able to tour the building, get to meet some of your teachers, and do some fun games and activities too, so you get a little bit more comfort with the middle school while we're walking in August. In August, we don't have a date yet, but we will have an orientation. You'll receive your schedule and be able to walk through your classes and meet some of your teachers as well. So any questions on any of that information about the structure of the school? Once again, I understand you might be a little bit nervous, anxious, worried about the transition. I'm telling you that that's natural to feel that way, but there will be many supports in place for you in order to transition to the middle school. So next, I'm going to throw it off to Ms. Duran. She's going to be talking about your electives and specials in the classes that you'll be taking next year and give you a little preview of that.
Alright guys, so for the electives, you will have the opportunity to choose whether or not you want to do what we call music ensemble, or if you wanted to be in a study hall. So if you chose to be in music ensemble, that means that you were choosing to be in either band, choir, or both, okay, in place of a study hall period. So one of your periods of day, you are going to go to either band or choir every day. If you are somebody who chooses to do both band and choir, you are still going to select music ensemble 6 on your scheduling sheet to show that you want to do either band or choir. You do not have to specify at this time which one you're going to choose. So when you get to school at the beginning of the year next year, Mr. Smith, who's our band director, and Mr. Koharchik, who is our choir instructor, both of them will meet with you, and you can decide at that point whether you want to do band, choir, or band and choir, okay? But if you do band and choir, remember that that is going to happen during the same period, and Mr. Smith and Mr. Koharchik will work it out with you which days you'll go to band and which days you'll go to choir, okay? Does that make sense? Maybe? Okay. And if you choose to not do music ensemble, then on your elective form, you are going to just select study hall. So you will have a full period of a study hall where you'll be in a 6th grade classroom with a teacher and a few of your other classmates, and you'll be able to work on homework assignments. You'll be able to go see some other teachers if you need any help on anything. That may also be a time that we choose for you to come and see me if you decide that maybe you need some extra support for something, or you're having some friendship issues, or maybe we have a scheduled time to meet. You would come and usually see me during that period that is more of like a study hall or music ensemble, just because we don't like to take you out of those support classes. So some other things that you'll be doing is specials. So one period a day also, you will have special. So your special is going to go through our 6-day rotation. You guys are familiar with the 6-day rotation, right? So similar to elementary school, you are going to have a 6-day rotation in middle school. So usually days 2, 4, and 6, you would go to STEM, which STEM is, you guys know what STEM is, right? So it's similar to those kind of things. So doing things with like robotics or coding. What else is
Connects, and doing some Lego bots, and we have some additional curriculum coming for next year, so stay tuned for that, but students have a lot of fun in that class.
Yeah, so typically 3 days out of the 6-day rotation, you would be going to the STEM innovation. Then you would also have one day that is your physical education. You guys are familiar with Mr. Lowry. He will still be your gym teacher next year. So that would be a familiar face for you guys to have. So one day out of the 6-day rotation, you'll get to see Mr. Lowry from his ed. We also have art. Once again, you guys are lucky because Mrs. Oshesky will still be your art teacher. So you will get to see Mrs. Oshesky one day a week, and she will obviously work with you on some different art things that she has for you. The last day of the cycle, once again, Mrs. Dell will be cool, okay? So you just have one choice to make between those two. All right? Thank you.
This
And when we talk in August and you visit the middle school and get your schedule. So first of all, I'm going to talk about science and social studies. So as Mr. Walters already explained, science and social studies will be a 41-minute period in your day. So when that bell rings, you will report to science and or social studies. When you go to those classes in science, you'll learn a bunch of life sciences periods, or 2 of those 41-minute sessions that Mr. Walters talked about. So math next year, you are going to have 82 minutes of your day next year. I know that sounds like a lot, but sitting through some of those math classes, it goes very quickly. Now, for your math path, this is why Mr. Walters mentioned it's so important that you always put your best foot forward. You try your best. So for math, during those 82 minutes, we typically have the teachers instruct during that first 41 minutes. So give you your instruction, you take your notes, you do some guided practice, and then typically you'll take a break. So even when that bell rings, you're still allowed out in the hall, go to the bathroom, stretch, go out and get whatever you need from your locker, and then you'll come back for your second part of that class. Instruction may continue, or they may use that second part of instruction for you to work in cooperative groups, or work independently on a project, or continue taking a test, whatever it may be. So it's just an extra class, 2 minutes. So 2 people to use as a resource, 2 people to help support you, and you will be learning the 6th grade math curriculum. The other math class that you can be put into is an accelerated math 6 class. You are in typical math 5 this year. So if you are doing well and progressing well, you may be just put simply in that typical math 6 class as well. Now, for those of you, when you get to the middle school, and you will see this in middle school and beyond, so middle school through high school, there is the chance of you getting elected to be in a pre-algebra 6. So what this means is you would move out of that 6th grade hall for 2 periods of the day. You would be taught at a little bit faster and advanced typical math algebra. So if you're doing well, now there are some stipulations, so we can't just say, oh, I'd like to try that. There are some rules and regulations that go along with that. First of all, your teachers will meet, so a combination of, Mrs. Blows, Mrs. Rue, Mr. Lesko can take part in all of that, but your math content teachers, Ms. Masters will be part of that, They will talk and they'll fill out a form to make us aware of your math growth this year. If you aren't good in pre-algebra 6, this is actually 2 grade levels above math 6. So when I say it's a little more advanced and rigorous, it is, okay? There's a lot more that goes into it. There's homework nightly, but for those students who really have a good concept of math and have a good work ethic and are organized, typically can handle this as 6th graders. However, here are some rules that must apply for you to qualify for this class, and I'll read through those bulleted points as you look at them. You have to have a 93% or higher in your 5th grade math, okay? You must receive a teacher recommendation. So that means the teacher in 5th grade doesn't always have to say to you, where's your homework? Or did you leave your paper in your classroom? Or why didn't you show work on this algebra problem? So you're showing a good work ethic. You have to receive an advanced or proficient on your PSSAs. So try really hard, do your best. You must maintain, then, if you do qualify for this class and you're put into pre-algebra, that doesn't mean you're set there and you're good to go. After the first 9 weeks in pre-algebra 6, you have to maintain at least an 85% in that class. Because typically the first 9 weeks is the easiest 9 weeks in that class. And if you're not able to maintain at least a solid B, that's nothing against you, but we know that you may not be successful as the year progresses. Also, your spring math scores, and I know you work on those 3 times a year, we're looking for a benchmark score of 219 on those. And then once again, everyone sitting in this room, as well as the students we're going to talk to at Buffalo this afternoon, we only have 25 seats in that class. So there's no shame if you don't make it. Remember, there's still that accelerated Math 6 class, and the potential of, if you work really hard in 6th grade, the potential of making gains once you become a 7th grader. Okay? So that is math. Talking about ELA, and Mrs. Ollinger's here so she can specify more so when she gets up to talk, but ELA, English Language Arts, is also going to be a double block, so 82 minutes of your day. You will have 3 levels of ELA next year. One is that co-teaching class. That's where there will be 2 teachers in the room, both offering support to you. Second level of ELA is just your ELA grade 6. You're all in ELA grade 5 this year. So you would move on to ELA grade 6. And then the other one is, and seats are limited in this class as well, but Mrs. Ollinger currently teaches an advanced 6th grade ELA. Once again, it's also a double block, so 2 periods of your day. So once again, just simply move or rearrange your schedule so we put you in a class that best fits you. And then also, once again, seats are limited to about 25 students in that class, a combination of those of you sitting here and those students that are at Buffalo. So that would be your day, including what Ms. Duran talked about, your electives and your specials.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, how do you know what you're going to be taking next year? Really, you won't know exactly what math or ELA until the end of the year, until you get your schedule for August. So that will be provided to you during orientation. Where you have the choice, especially right now, is if you want to do band, chorus, or both, or a study hall. So today at 4 p.m., there is a scheduling Google form that will be sent out to your families. On this form, we're asking you and your parents to go through this form, make sure there's an email address listed, which would be your parents' email address, your first and last name, and the biggest thing to remember is please make sure you're selecting 6th grade because this is for the 24 and 25 school year. Once you get done with that, you'll hit submit and it will take you to this page here. This page is the second page of the Google form. There is a link that can take you to our program of studies that gives you a little bit more of an in-depth description of each one of the classes you'll be taking as a 6th grader. So I would encourage you and your parents to take a look at that. And then at the bottom of that, it will have your elective option. And once again, Music ensemble includes band, chorus, and bow. You will not know, or you will not tell your teacher until next year which one you want to do. On the first day, all the sixth graders who are electing to do either band or chorus will go to the auditorium. You'll fill out a form, and then they'll set up the schedule. For example, if you're somebody that wants to just do A to U. Any questions on the Google form? Okay, I'm going to throw it off to Mr. Rand, and she's just going to go through the timeline with everything within this next week.
So as Mr. Walters said, that Google form that you guys just saw will be sent to
We schedule a study hall, so please remind your parents to fill this out by next week so we can put you in the accurate classes. Last but not least, I'm going to throw
Elsa, Adela, and Lily. And what we did is we took some commonly asked questions that the fifth graders usually wonder about, and we want to give you the answers. So let's start with Adela. Adela, can you tell them how big the lockers are and if they have locks?
They're pretty big, about 6 feet high and like 1 foot wide. And you do have locks. You'll have your own combination, and you'll most likely get to practice at your orientation.
And what about decorating the outside of the locker? How does that work?
If it's your friend's birthday, you can decorate the outside. You just have to get permission first, but you can decorate the inside as long as it's not wet.
Okay, Ian, a lot of fifth graders want to know where their locker is located.
Your locker is in the 6th grade yellow hall near your homeroom teacher.
And what about backpacks?
No, leave your backpack in your locker and get it at the end of the day.
A lot of kids are also worried about getting from class to class because you switch every period. Is it hard to do that?
You have 3 minutes in between classes to get your things, use the restroom, or get a drink. If you're organized, it'll be fast and easy. Remember, no running.
Okay, Yuri's turn. Tell them what you put in your locker.
Challenge.
And another question that all 6 of them, because we were talking about this, had, they were worried about getting lost. How many are afraid of getting lost in the middle school? Matthew, Dad.
No, don't worry about getting lost. Our classes are all in the yellow 6th grade hallway, and every room has numbers above the door.
And what about bullying?
It can be, but make sure you tell your teachers, counselors, principal, have it taken and sent to the
The key to some rooms against our grade.
6, if you're selected to be in that, you would take your Keystones as a 7th grader. If you go into an accelerated class and then you move into pre-algebra as a 7th grader, you take it as 8th grader, but most of our students take it their freshman year, so you don't even have to worry about that.
Yeah, when you go to challenge, if you go challenge, is it during the study hall?
It's during wind time.
Nope.
Or 7th grade.
So that would be during, like, if you did band or choir or study hall, whichever one of the days out of the 6-day rotation would be for challenge.
2.
Yeah,
Oh, 2
two.
days.
Yeah, day 4 and day 5.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, give these students, we all here.
One more question.
For that, in the winter time when you go out to like a recess thing, where do you go?
So you are assigned I'll let one of them.
You want to
Go
tell
ahead.
Lily where we go for recess?
So you go on the blacktop, and then there's like a football or basketball or other kind of things you can play with on there. So
And when it's not muddy out, you can play in the field where the cross-country track is. And there are basketball hoops outside in our parking lot. So a lot of students partake in basketball when the weather is nice and it's not muddy. Some students play just like here, touch football, not tackle. And then some students just spend the time enjoying the nice fresh air and walking around with friends. But there is recess equipment that we bring out. As long as you are treating that recess equipment properly and returning it, then it'll be available the next day. If it's not being returned, it does not get replenished. So those students know that as well.
When are the recesses?
It's during when, and as Mr. Walters explained, it'll be right after the 5th and 6th period lunches. So it's midday. Thanks for having us.
Give them a round of applause. Even though they're So just as a reminder, today at 4 p.m., your parents will be getting an email that will be coming from Mr. Lesko in South Buffalo. At 4 p.m., you will be able to select on your Google form whether you want to take study hall, band, or chorus. If you're still undecided, you have until next week to complete that. So have a discussion with your parents, take a look at the program and study it, and like I said, to start off the meeting, be sure you're respectful to your teachers back here. Mr. Lesko, continue to work hard in all your classes. And PSSAs, once again, is a big indication for us on what pathway you'll be moving forward. So once again, we'll see you on May 20th. We're looking forward to Move Up Day. There'll be more information coming out to you guys probably within the next month or so. Okay, I will throw it on to our teachers.
Thank you, Mr. Walters.